Hey, thanks for stopping by. You know, I followed your character since the first episode. I'm a big fan, big fan.
Thank you.
And listen, your storyline, it makes for incredible TV drama. Thing is, your drug use is very adult content. Too adult for the kids. So I'm gonna have to block you.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Well, have a good one.
You're a nice lady.
Welcome to This Week with Sheriff Dave Phelan, a weekly program here on LSN Television. Do appreciate you, the viewers and listeners that join us each and every week, and the students here at Fairfield Christian Academy that put this program together, and certainly Kelly Roberts, our executive producer. This week we got a great guest. In fact, he'll be with us for the next couple weeks. Shane Skeen, Fairfield County Sheriff's Office, and you were involved in the SORN program,
Yes,
which
sir.
is Sex Offender Registry, right?
Yes, it is.
And before we get into that, tell us a little bit about yourself. How long have you been with the Sheriff's Office, and maybe some of your different assignments?
Well, I've been with the Sheriff's Office for 21 years this year.
Okay.
I've worked in every division at the Sheriff's Office at one point in time. Started out in the radio room, went to patrol, then went to DARE, spent a few years in DARE, went to the Detective Bureau, and then from the Detective Bureau, went back to DARE for a year, then to the jail, and now for the SORN Registry.
Any assignment that you like the best?
Honestly, I think DARE was my favorite.
Really?
Yeah, to be able to interact with the children and the parents, and DARE wasn't always the best action for all the kids.
Yes.
But I touched each and every kid in one way or another. Some of the kids, they're now 28, 29 years old, and they still come to me, call me Deputy Shane, and still talk to me, and they don't forget. They've never forgot what I've said to them back then. Some listened, some didn't.
Yeah. You know, it's funny because you talk about something you've done a long time ago. I was involved in a ministry here at Fairfield Christian Church called Sunshine Crossing a number of years ago, like 20 years ago, and played a character by the name of Engineer Ernie. And to this day, I mean, I can be at the Y, I can be at the mall, and this person will walk up to me, and they're grown up. Mm-hmm. And they even look a little bit older, and they say, "Hey, I remember you," and da 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 da. So does that happen all the time?
It's kind of funny. The wife and I will be at dinner somewhere, and someone will say, she knows whether they know me from a professional aspect, from being either in the jail or someone I've arrested,
right,
or from DARE, because they'll come up and they'll say, "Deputy Shane," or they'll say, "Deputy Skeen." There's a difference. And after all the years we've been married, she actually learned that if they say Deputy Skeen, it's probably because I've arrested them or been involved professionally. And a Deputy Shane is, "Oh, that's one of your DARE students, isn't it?"
Right,
so
right.
It makes it a lot easier.
Now you also have a photography business in addition to being a deputy?
I love to do photography. We've had a studio here and in Wellston, Ohio. We've done senior pictures, weddings, a little bit of everything.
And you've done some things with the Sheriff's Office, too.
Yeah, I've actually taken some of the pictures for the Sheriff's Office for the banquets and such. And then recently we just did the Dave's photo for all the elected officials named Dave here in Fairfield County. I did that photo for him.
Yeah, for our viewers or listeners that may have missed that, it was kind of ironic because there are a lot of Daves that are involved in county government. There's the Fire Chief, Dave Ward, Dave Bailey, the Chief of Police, Dave Levesey, the County Commissioner, Dave Fay, who is with the Parks, Dave Benson with the Fairgrounds, Dave Trimmer, the Judge, and Dave Smith, the Mayor. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, there was a lot of them. So we all got together one day and you took our picture. In fact, you had a special thing for Mayor Smith, didn't you?
Yes. Mayor Smith couldn't make the actual photo shoot, so we lined everybody up, put everybody up there, and we left a hole just for Mayor Smith, and he came up, I think it was the next day, and I was able to just edit it and put him in there.
Put him in there.
Yeah. So I have one with and one without.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious. And to look at the picture, you'd never know.
Yeah, you would never know he wasn't there when we actually shot the photo.
Well, tell us what the Sex Offender Registry is and how that works in our county and all over the state of Ohio, actually, isn't it?
Right. In the state of Ohio, each sheriff of every county in all 88 counties is the responsible agency, I guess, for all sex offenders. If you're convicted of a sex offense crime, whether it's gross sexual imposition or rape, or I mean, there's hundreds of different possibilities, you're required to register with each county that you live in and or work in. So someone could live in Fairfield County, register with myself, and then have to go to Franklin County and also register because they work in Franklin County.
Okay.
There's all kinds of different tiers and different things that they have to do. Some of the people don't know is there's 3 different tiers. A tier 1 sex offender is the lowest level of sex offender you could be. They're required to register once a year. Or if they change an address, change the telephone number, the vehicles they register, basically everything involved in their life, they have to come and tell me.
Now, is that the least serious?
That's the least serious.
So that is something
yes.
that maybe when you were an adult, you had maybe you were 20 years old and had a girlfriend that was 14 or something like that. Right?
Yeah, and actually a lot of our tier 1s, some of them I should say, is maybe an 18-year-old senior in high school and dating a freshman that is 15. Because
Okay.
they're not of a consensual age, they will end up being a tier 1 and they only have to report once a year.
And then how long do they have to report?
For 10 years.
For 10 years?
Yes, they will
Okay.
have to report for 10 years. Then a tier 2 has to report to me every 6 months.
Okay.
Regardless if anything changes or not, they have to come into my office every 6 months. They register the same types of things that a tier 1 does. It's just a little more frequent. And then a tier 3, which is also used to be known as a sexual predator. The tier 3 is the highest designation that you can receive, and they are required to come into my office every 90 days.
Now, on the tiers, is it the judge that sets where they fall, or is it the type of crime?
It's the type of crime. And,
Okay.
and then the judge sentences them, or upon their sentencing, the judge fills out a duty to register form, and that tells them what tier they fall in. And it has to be within, certain crimes fall in tier 1, certain crimes fall in tier 2, and then tier 3. Just the same. So it's actually the crime that they committed, or that they're convicted of, I should say, designates what tier they are.
And so how many sex offenders do we have in the county?
Well, currently active, we have 125 sex offenders.
Okay.
We have, I actually manage almost 200, but some are in prison, some are some other things. So we have quite a few in prison.
And out of that 120 some, how many would be in the tier 3 or the dangerous group?
I think there is 22.
22.
Yes.
So that would really be the group that you would be more concerned with, right?
Honestly, that's the group that gets monitored constantly.
Okay.
We check on, we also, as a responsibility of the Sheriff's Office, have to check their residences to make sure that they are living where they tell us. So someone that's a tier 1 will only come in my office once a year. I'm only required by law to check on their residence once a year. I typically do 2 to 3.
Okay.
But the tier 3 sex offenders, I check on every 90 days. We send them out mailers that are do not forward. So if they move and don't tell me, it comes back to me and tells me it was undeliverable. I actually go to the physical residence, talk to someone in the residence, verify that they do live there. And it's kind of funny because since I took over the SORN in August 1st of 2013, when Deputy Baumgart retired, I've since indicted 11 of our sex offenders on failure to register because they weren't doing what they were supposed to do.
So how are they pretty good about coming in overall, or is it kind of hit and miss? Or
honestly, I used to say 99% of them were really good at what they were supposed to do, but because I've dug deeper and deeper and really been proactive against them, I'm going to say about 95% of them now. It dropped a little bit because I have had 11 out of 125 that I've had to charge, but 95% of the gentlemen that register with me, and ladies, I should say, they do what they're supposed to do.
And what's the penalty for not registering or not coming in?
In the state of Ohio, it's actually equivalent to whatever the original charge was. So if they were originally charged with and I have a young man now that we're trying to find, his crime was a first-degree felony in the state of Ohio.
Okay.
Now that he's failed to register, not fulfilled his obligations, he's now facing an additional F1. So he's going to go to prison for quite some time when we catch him.
Now, once an individual is released from jail or they're sentenced, then they come in and meet with you.
Yes.
And then what kind of information do you need? And then then you set up appointments and those kind of things?
Yes. When they're sentenced, they have 3 days from their sentencing to come in and see me.
Okay.
I take all their personal information. I take their social security number, their home address, their people that live in the residence with them. I put that in there. Their tattoos, their scars, their marks, the vehicles they drive. If they have an email address, we put that in there. We put in if they attend a school or a work, we also put that in there. All of it's public record, except of course their social security number and stuff.
And I guess the other question is, why is it important to have a program like this, and what are some of the benefits?
Well, actually, there are a lot of benefits because I get calls every day about, well, so-and-so's just moved into my area. Is he allowed to live here? Is he too close to a school? In the state of Ohio, a registered sex offender cannot live within 1,000 feet of a school or a daycare center. That is if they're convicted after 2007. If they were convicted before 2007, well, actually prior to 2003, they're allowed to live right next door. It
Kind
was,
of a grandfather clause.
It really was. When Adam Walsh Act was passed, Ohio tried to transition everybody into one big lump sum. Well, the Supreme Court said you can't do that. Their crimes were prior to the Adam Walsh Act, so they separated them again.
Okay.
So the people prior to 2003 can live right next door. A lot of misconceptions in the public is that a sex offender can't live near a park. That's not true in the state of Ohio. It's never been put into the legislation. It's schools and daycare centers.
But that doesn't say they can't walk by or they can't go into the school, right?
No, and a great
it
example.
It just says you can't live by there.
Exactly. A great example is we actually had a sex offender that had 2 kids in an elementary school, and they had a program. And the principal of the school tried to kick him out. And then the principal of the school called me and said, he's absolutely not allowed to be here by law. And I had to explain to the principal, that's not true. Unfortunately, the law states he can't live within 1,000 feet. It doesn't say that he can't go to the school to attend his own children's functions. The law allows them to do that.
Now, once a sex offender, is this just a tier 3 or is this all of them? There's a notification thing that we do, right?
Yes, and it's only for tier 3s.
Okay, so that's the most serious.
That's the
right.
most serious.
That makes sense.
And whenever they move into a new residence, we send out flyers to everyone within 1,000 feet of their residence. We send out, last year I think probably about 15,000 flyers to everybody in the neighborhood to let them know this individual's moved into your area. It has a picture on it. This is what he looks like, and directs them to the website itself.
We're coming close on time. So what I'd like to see if you could come back next week, and we can talk a little bit about, I know there's an email registry that they can sign up for, so if a sex offender moves within 2 miles, they're going to be notified. We can talk about that. We can talk also about a charity you're involved in, which is going to be the Fallen Officers Memorial coming up.
Yes.
So we can talk about that. And there's a lot of interest. And I bet you get a lot of calls, don't you, over the course of a
Yes.
year from different residents?
A lot every week, yes.
Appreciate you being with us.
Thank you, Sheriff.
Shane Skeen, deputy with the Fairfield County Sheriff's Office, involved with our sex offender registry and a great program. He does a terrific job, and we're going to learn more about that next week. It's too bad we're out of time, but that's the way it goes. Appreciate the students here at Fairfield Christian Academy, J.T. Burcham, the instructor, and all the folks that come together, including Kelly Roberts, that produce and put this program together each and every week, and certainly you, the viewers and listeners that join us. Until next week, same time, same place. If you're driving, buckle up, be careful, God bless, and we'll see you right here next week.
When it comes to choosing a school, parents who want the best education for their students look for academic excellence, skilled teachers, a safe school that encourages their values. Students want a school with competitive athletics, unique opportunities, and friendships that last a lifetime. Fairfield Christian Academy, the place where parents and students agree. Enrolling now at fairfieldchristianacademy.com.